and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Maria and today's video is going to be a do bookish things with me. So it was supposed to be just a book shopping and book haul video, but you'll see why it's probably not just going to be that once I get to the haul part of this. But basically you will come with me while I do a bit of Christmas book shopping, going to the Christmas markets, and then I'll show you the books that I ended up picking up from that trip as well. But I am also going to be doing in this video looking at my TBR cart for the winter, just trying to shuffle a few books out of there just to refresh it a little bit. The books that are on there have been on there for quite some time. Just want to make sure that I'm putting on some of the books that I'm maybe more excited about or books that I'm leaning towards picking up soon. Make sure they're on the cart so that when I'm picking my TBR for the next few months, it's all the books that I kind of want to read in the winter, seasonally appropriate, and I'm not missing anything. It's on my TBR shelves. And then I may try and do a little bit of an unhaul as well, because as always my shelves are bursting at the seams and I really have no room for any new books. But inevitably I am going to be doing some shopping over Christmas, over my birthday, and over the next month or so, because I have points and some money that I've accumulated from selling books, and it's likely I'll probably get vouchers and things like that for my birthday and Christmas. So I need to make some room, and I do know that there's books there that I am holding on to for no reason really, just for the sake of FOMO and not wanting to get rid of a book that may potentially be a favourite. But the reality is, if it's been on my shelves for more than a year, I'm probably not really that interested in it, or it's a book that I'm just not going to read. There's a few exceptions to that which we'll go through, but for the most part it's just books that maybe just don't pique my interest. I definitely probably don't need a special edition of them, so I'm going to try and be really ruthless with that and maybe do a bit of an unhaul and show you that as well. And then I will probably be reorganising my shelves, but I may keep that for a different video and just kind of show you what I end up doing. But basically just going to be doing a lot of bookish stuff this week. I may also look at my Goodreads and try and update my physical TBR. So a lot of good bookish stuff that we'll be going through. But first thing we'll be doing, as I say, is going shopping, looking in Waterstones, seeing what books I'm interested in, seeing if I can pick up anything, going to the Christmas markets, and then I'll show you the books that I ended up picking up. Okay, so I only ended up picking up 2 books on that trip. I feel like I'm in a bit of a book buying slump, and I think it is because I've got so many books on my shelves that I'm just overwhelmed with the choices that I have. So at the moment, unless it's a book that I'm really interested in, or one that I've been looking for, or a special edition or something like that, I just feel like I'm in a bit of a slump and nothing's really calling out to me. So that's probably a good thing for my bank balance, but it is quite disheartening when you're going with kind of the intention of doing a bit of a big book haul and really treating yourself when you can only find a few books that you're actually interested in. But as I say, I did end up getting 2 books, and the first one is Talon Sister by Jem Williams. So this one, I did see it a couple of weeks ago and I decided not to pick it up at the time, but since I was using some points for my Waterstones card, I thought why not? It is one that actually sounds quite intriguing to me, so it's one I'm quite interested in picking up. So I decided to pick this one up, and it sounds like it is going to be quite a rich and dense story. So there's 3 different people here. One is a soldier who is just back from war and kind of battling with memories that she can't quite place, and she doesn't really know who she is. So guessing that's going to be intriguing to find out who she is, why she's having these memories, what her past is. We've got another character who kind of works for the Imperium, and he is escorting a bone crafter across the Imperium, and I believe this bone crafter ends up being quite ambitious and has said that she has found another source for what is called Titan bones, and she wants to explore that. And then another character we have who has been raised by griffins, has lived with them her whole life. They didn't kill her as a baby, but that may have doomed them because her past is going to catch up with her, and again I'm guessing it's a bit of a mystery as to where she came from. So guessing these 3 timelines and these 3 storylines storylines are going to converge at one point. But it does sound like even from the blurb it's going to be quite a rich and dense story. So excited to pick this one up. I do have another book by Jem Williams on my physical TBR. I think it's the 9th reign, so I just need to double check that I need to read that series before reading this. I don't think they're connected. It doesn't seem to say anywhere on here that they are, but I just want to double check that it's not connected or that I shouldn't be reading that one first before reading this one. But definitely piqued my interest when I seen it in Modish Ones a couple of weeks ago, and as I say, I was using points, so decided to pick this one up. And then this next one is purely for FOMO reasons. I just didn't want to miss out on it. It's one that I've seen loads of people talking about, loads of people loving it. It's a romantasy darling at the minute on BookTok and BookTube and basically everywhere. And when I seen this edition, there was an indie edition and I was going to buy it at the time. Ended up not buying it. I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing that now because it is out of print, and that's a lesson to myself if there is one that I'm really interested in, just to pick it up when it is indie published. But the book I picked up is Quicksilver, and this is by Callie Hart, and I've just seen a lot of people talking about this, a lot of people loving this, a lot of people who love romantasy saying that this is kind of the next best thing. I have been burned in the past with that by, you know, the next new romantasy that's going to be the next A Court of Thorns and Roses, as everything is kind of compared to. I have been burned by that in the past, so I'm a bit cautious in terms of entering into this one, whether it's one that I'm going to like. But as I say, there's quite a few people on my Bookstagram who I really trust and usually agree with their reviews, so I'm hoping this is going to be one that I'm going to love. But I was in Waterstones and seen this edition in there, and I thought I'm going to just grab it while I have the chance. It's one that I'm sure I'll be able to sell or donate to the library or something like that if I don't enjoy it. But seeing this edition, I didn't want to miss on it. So it's not the Sprayed Edges edition. I know that they did do one. Not sure if that's still available, but I seen this with £3 off as well in store and just decided to pick it up. So it's obviously got the indie published cover on there. So I actually think this cover's really pretty. A lot of people don't really like it, but I actually quite like it, with the colours and the art on there as well. This is a hardback and it does have some pretty end papers as well. And then the reason I wanted to pick this up is because it does have some pretty foiling on the naked hardback as well. So I thought if this ends up being one that I really love, I would like to have a nice edition of it. And another good thing about this one is it does have the what they're calling the discreet cover on the back. So this is kind of the reversible dust jacket on here, which is interesting for traditionally published. You don't really get that very often, so it was obviously so popular they decided to have it on there. So as I say, this one is basically just a case of FOMO. I didn't want to miss out on this one, but to be quite honest, I'm not even sure what the synopsis of this one is. So it just says Sarah Swain is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the powers she possesses and the fact that she has been stealing from the undying queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. But a secret is like a knot. Sooner or later it's bound to come undone. When Ceres is face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to Yvelia? The land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, of legends and nightmares, but it turns out they're real, and Ceres has landed in the centre of a centuries-long conflict that might just get her killed. The first of her kind to enter Yvelia in over 1,000 years, Ceres mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome Fae warrior with an agenda of his own. He will use her powers to protect his people, no matter what it costs him or her. Death has a name. It is Kingfisher of the Azure Gate. His past is murky, his attitude stinks, and he is the only way Ceres is going to make it home. So, forced proximity, reluctant alliance, I'm guessing, dark secrets within his past. I'm guessing it's going to be kind of a dark and broody character in Kingfisher just from that description. So yeah, sounds like pretty standard romantasy formula. It sounds like it's one that I probably will enjoy. It very much depends on the writing style and the romance for me when it comes to romantasy. I like there to be a bit more of a world building in there. I like the fantasy to be good in it. But to be honest, if the romance is really good, if the characters are really good, if it's not kind of a insta love, I will probably still enjoy it even if it doesn't have those fantasy elements that I prefer. But let's see how this one goes. I'm hesitantly going to be jumping into this one hopefully really soon. Really want to see if this is one that I'm going to enjoy. As I say, it's a complete FOMO pickup, so excited that I now have a physical copy that'll hopefully prompt me to pick this up, and obviously want to be getting this on the TBR cart for the start of 2025. So yeah, those are the two books that I ended up picking up. As I say, I had intended to kind of do a bit of a splurge and treat myself, but there was nothing really calling to me that I wanted to pick up straight away, so decided just to get the two. These were two that I had been interested in, so no point picking up a load of books that are going to end up just not being of interest to me just because I had the money at the time to do it. So maybe wait till the new year to do another book haul. Definitely be waiting until I've done my unhaul just to see what I actually have and to try and dwindle down that physical TBR as much as possible, especially if it's filled with books that I'm just not really that interested in. I really need to just cull those out and be quite strict with that, and then I will see what I actually have, because yeah, at the moment I'm just a bit too overwhelmed, and that's probably why I'm in a bit of a buying slump, because I feel like I've probably got books that are the same as this, and it just makes no sense picking them up. But yeah, we'll be going through that this week. We'll be going through my TBR card, going through what I have on there, switching out a few of the books, maybe just refreshing it a little bit, getting me a bit more excited about the books I actually own. And then, as I say, I'll hopefully do a bit of an unhaul this week as well. In terms of what I'm reading this week, I am actually reading Heartless by Marissa Meyer, so I'm actually quite a good bit through it. I think I'm around probably about a third or something like that through it. So I'm on chapter 22 and I'm really enjoying this so far. It is definitely YA in terms of, I would say it's probably targeted at the younger YA audience, but it's not taking away from it. It is a YA book, so I had to expect that. But just if you were thinking of picking it up, I would say that this is targeting a younger audience, and essentially this is just a story about the Red Queen before she became the Red Queen in Alice in Wonderland. So I would say if you're a fan of Alice in Wonderland, the Disney version, and the book as well, you probably will enjoy this because there's a lot of little nods in there to that story. And I don't want to give away too much of the storyline or anything about this, but it has just so far been very cute and cozy, whimsical, a little bit of darkness in there, so quite similar to Alice in Wonderland where it is quite whimsical but there's always dark undercurrent within there. And it's just interesting to kind of see Marissa Meyer's take on who the Red Queen was before she became the Red Queen. At the moment there doesn't really seem to be too much that's kind of pointing towards how she ends up at that point, so be interested to see where this goes and how it kind of turns to get her to the evil queen essentially that she becomes. But yeah, so far really liking this, liking the writing style. This is the first book I've read by Marissa Meyer, but I'm really liking the writing style, so it's been a good introduction to her writing to see if it's something that I would enjoy. But yeah, I'll keep you updated on this as well. Probably won't take me too long to read this one because I am kind of flying through it. It is quite a quick and easy read, I would say. Once I read a bit more of this and once I have a bit of an update, I'll jump on and let you know. Hey all, so it's been a couple of days since I updated this video, and since then I have actually acquired a few more books, so I am going to do a very quick book haul in a moment. But I thought since the last clip ended on me just giving you kind of my overview of Heartless, I'd just give you a quick update. So I have now finished this and I ended up giving this one 3.75, so I think it was okay. It was a good read. I liked her writing style. I just think overall it was probably a bit too YA for my tastes, and maybe that's why I was missing the mark when it came to the romance. So I wasn't really invested in the romance, and I think the romance is a really pivotal part of this story to really make you feel for the characters and really make you connect with them. So I feel like if you're not connecting with that, it may not have the impact that Marissa Meyer was anticipating with this book. But again, I just have to reiterate that this is not a book that's targeted at someone of 36 years of age. This is very much a YA book, so do take my review and kind of my feelings on it with a huge pinch of salt, because I'm not the target audience. I do think this was set for a bit of a younger reading group, and I think for me, as I say, I did enjoy the story. I think she did take the kind of inspiration from Alice in Wonderland and really went with it, and I did really feel that within here. Definitely think it had the essence of Alice in Wonderland for me, but for whatever reason I just couldn't really connect with the characters. I didn't really feel for the main character when kind of the thing happened that turns her into the evil Red Queen, and I just think it was just a case of that connection with the characters that fell a little bit short for me. But in terms of the writing style, in terms of the plot, the story, the atmosphere, it was all pretty good, so that's why I ended up on a 3.75 for that one. But as I say, I have actually acquired a few more books that I can show you as part of my book haul for this video. So a couple of these are gifts very kindly from some of my friends on Bookstagram. So it was my birthday last Sunday and a couple of people sent me some gifts for that, and then I did also participate in a Secret Santa with some girls who are also on BookTube, so I'll link everyone below. But we did a little Secret Santa between us and that has arrived as well. And then I did end up going to Waterstones again and ended up picking up two books, funnily enough, that were both from the same author, and I didn't really realise until I was going to pay for them that they were from the same author, so obviously their blurbs really caught me. But yeah, so I'll just go through those books now. So I'll start with the two books that I bought for myself. So these are both by an author called H.G. Perrine, which I've never actually heard of before. I've never heard of this author. I had seen this book before in terms of this cover and stuff like that, but I'd never heard anything about the author. And then the latest one that I had heard of, and the one that piqued my interest first, was this one. So The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door. And basically this one, I've seen it a few times on Bookstagram, and I think it's a newer release. I'm pretty sure this just came out recently. And again, just anything with scholars, fairy door, sounds like it's going to be maybe dark academia mixed with fairy lore or something like that. Just sounds like it's going to be right up my street, just going by the title alone. When I read the back of it, I think it has a bit of a historical fiction feel. I think it's set just after World War I. There's a magical academy, there's secrets that are unearthed, and it just sounded like it was going to be right up my street. So I picked this one up to hopefully read pretty soon. Then I also seen this cover, and again, I didn't actually realise it was the same author. It was in the same section obviously because it is the same author, but I didn't realise it was the same author I was picking up. Basically this one is called The Magician's Daughter, and basically it's about this girl who has lived on this island just off the coast of Ireland. It's full of ruins and ancient trees, and she washed up on this island as a baby, so guessing there's going to be a mystery there as to how she got there. The only person she knows really is her magical guardian Rowan, who goes missing one day, and essentially the story is her going basically on a journey to try and find him and work out where he went. And again, I think this is probably going to have some sort of historical element to it. It sounded like it might be quite whimsical, and I think it's a coming of age story as well. But yeah, the blurb really got me, so I decided to pick this one up as well. Then moving on to the ones that I got for my birthday. So the first one is The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. So this is the second book in the Winter Night Chronicles by Catherine Arden, and I have read Perrine the Nightingale. I read it quite recently. It wasn't my last reading vlog, I think, and I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the writing style, enjoyed the lore. It was a little bit slower paced than I was expecting, but I still really enjoyed it. It was a bit more slice of life. So I'm really excited to move on to the second one, considering how that first one ended. And this was sent to me by my friend Tiffany, so I mention her all the time on here, but I'll link her bookstagram below as well so that you can go and follow her. But yeah, she very kindly sent me this for my birthday. And another very good friend of mine on bookstagram, Clara, sent me this one for my birthday. So again, I probably mentioned her on here before, and I'll link her in the description box below. But this one is called A Multitude of Dreams by Mara Rutherford, and firstly, this cover is absolutely stunning. I'm guessing this is why it was on my wish list to start with. I'm guessing this caught my eye. But this one, I believe, is around kind of a Gothic castle. There was a plague, killed a lot of people, and this girl has been left in the castle, and I don't know too much about it, to be honest. I haven't really read the description, but I just know that there's some romance in here, there's some light horror in here, it's quite gothic as well, so everything that I like. And there's a couple of blurbs from like Erin A. Craig, got Rebecca Ross, Alison Saft, all authors that I trust and love, so definitely be excited to read this one. I think me and Clara are going to actually buddy read this one together as well. Then lastly was My Secret Santa, and this is from Perrine, so again I'll link her bookstagram below. But as I say, we have a little group of booktube friends on there, and we decided to do Secret Santa this year, so she kindly sent me this one. So this is Zodiac Academy, and it's by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. I'm sure you've heard of this one. I think this one's pretty viral, but this is one that I've had on my Kindle for the last, I would say, probably 2 or 3 years. I think just probably whenever this one came out, because the cover, the sound of it just sounded like everything I would love. But I've heard such mixed reviews that I'm so afraid to jump into this one in case I don't end up liking it, and I don't want to be pushed out of the group for not liking it. But as I say, I've heard mixed things. I've heard that the writing is a little bit choppy to start off with, but you stay for the drama, you stay for the characters, you stay for the story, so I'll be interested to pick this one up to see how it goes. A lot of the girls in the group were quite excited about this and said that it was really good, and they wanted to know kind of what I thought about it when I jumped in, so definitely going to be putting this on my 25 books for 2025 as well. So yeah, I ended up hauling a few more books, but I think now what I'm going to do is look at my TBR card, have a quick look through it, take off all the books and kind of just put on the ones that I'm really interested in kind of in the immediate future, and then take anything off my TBR shelf that I think I want to add on there to try and get onto my TBR for the next few months. So as you can see, I've taken everything off the TBR card just to start afresh and just really give this a total refresh of the books that were on there. I think most of the books that were on there from, could be from I got the cart, but definitely since around July, August time. So I think it's just one of those ones. I'm a bit sick of looking at them, and obviously if I haven't picked them in the last 6 or 7 TBRs, maybe they're ones that I'm not too interested in, but I know there's a few on here that I definitely still do want to keep on my kind of immediate TBR, and ones that I do want to read in the winter, so I'm just going to pick out a few that I do want to keep on there. So the first one is Curious Tides, and this is by Pascal Lascelles, and this one I believe just centers around, I think it's an academy, it's celestial magic or something like that, and again I don't know too much about it. I think this was another present actually from Clara last Christmas, so again I'll probably try and buddy read this with Clara if she hasn't read it yet, because I do like to do that, but this is one I think I'll still want to read within the next few months. Next up is The Bonesmith, and this is by Nikki Powell Pareto, and I've heard some great things about this. I think this is a bit of an underdog book where a lot of people have read it and said it's really, really good, and I think the tagline in this one said it was Gideon the Ninth meets Game of Thrones, and recently read Gideon the Ninth, absolutely loved it, so definitely want to check this out to see if that rings true. So I think in terms of the hardbacks, that's probably the only 2 that I'm going to keep on there from what was on there before. Not to say that I'm not interested in the rest of them, they're just not on my radar for kind of the next 2 to 3 months, so I'm going to take them off and refresh them with some books that I think I might want to read over the next couple of months. But in terms of the second shelf, I have kept a few on here. So the first one will be The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Really want to get into the Stormlight archive, so definitely keeping this on there.
Then just a completely different trajectory is Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. I've read the first two in this kind of series following two of the characters, and this is kind of following the brother of the main character in the first two, so heard great things about the rest of this series. I really enjoyed those first two books, so want to continue this hopefully over the next couple of months as well. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, again just one I really want to jump into, and again I think this is one I'm actually going to buddy read with Clara. And then Jade City by Fonda Lee, one of those ones that's been on my TBR for so long, and something about winter just makes me want to read a bit more urban fantasy, so I think this is the best time to have this on the cart. Then I think that's it. I'm going to go through my TBR shelf and just see if there's anything on there that I want to pull out to add on to here, and then see what room I have, because some of these I would like to read them and some of them I'm just a bit indifferent about, but if I have room on here I will try and add those back on. But yeah, I think I'm just going to check out my TBR shelves, see what's interesting me from there, and then try and fill this up again. Okay, so I think that's the update pretty much done. I have just refreshed it a little bit with just some books that have been on my mind for a while and books that I definitely think I'll want to pick up over the next few months. So obviously you will have seen in this video I hauled Quicksilver, so I've got that on here. Daisy Hates is actually the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe. I wasn't that enamoured by Magnolia Parks, but I've heard that you need to read this book to really see if the series is going to be something for you, and I have all the books in this series on my shelf, so I really need to read these to see if it is something that's for me, because if not, it's quite a lot of real estate it has on my shelf, so definitely want to be picking this up pretty soon. The other books I've heard great things about, but for whatever reason just haven't managed to pick them up, is The Hurricane Wars by Thea Guanzon, as well as The Jasada by Sarah Hashem, and both of these are supposed to be really good romanticises. The world building's meant to be really good in them. This one especially, again, I think this is a bit of an underdog book that a lot of people who have read it have actually said they can't believe it's not getting more hype, so I wasn't aware that this was such a romantasy, so I'll definitely be excited to pick this one up. As I said, it's been on my shelves for quite some time, so both of these are kind of physical TBR veterans at this point. Speaking of TBR veterans, another one that's been on here for so long is The Book of Night by Holly Black, and the main reason I haven't read this is because, again, I've heard so many people say that they were disappointed in this and they didn't like it. I do try and not go off other people's opinion because, listen, there's a lot of books that I love that other people hate, vice versa. There's a lot of books that I hate that most people end up loving, so I definitely try and not go off other people's opinion, but it is pretty hard when you have quite a lot of people within your circle saying that this did disappoint them. But I do have a few friends who said that they absolutely loved this and are highly anticipating the next book, so again, it's just one I want to get off my physical TBR, because if it's not one for me and someone does love it, this beautiful edition could be in a much better place than it is at the moment. And another romantasy I've heard really great things about recently, and I believe it's concluding at the end of this month, so it's a perfect time to pick this up so that I can binge it, is A Kiss of Iron by Clara Sager, and I think this is part of a bigger world, but I do think you can start with this trilogy. If you have read her work and you do know that you maybe shouldn't start here, do let me know. But I've seen quite a few people reading this one. I've had this one for quite some time. Again, this was a gift from one of my friends on Bookstagram, Caitlin, and yeah, I've had this again on my shelf for such a long time, probably over a year at this point, so definitely one I want to pick up. And as I say, I've heard a lot of buzz about it, so it's got me more excited to jump into it. Going down to the next shelf, it's just some of those ones that we went through before, so the Brandon Sanderson, Chloe Walsh, Fee Schwab and Fonda Lee. And then there's another one on here. Again, this is a bit of an underdog because I haven't heard anyone talking about it, but anyone that I do see talking about it say that they really enjoy it. So it's Blood Air by Emily Wen Zhao, and I mean, looking at the cover, I think it's a perfect wintry read. I think if I'm going to pick it up, this is probably a good time to do it. I think this is like a story of revenge or something like that. I think the main character is accused of killing her father and she's trying to firstly clear her name and then seek revenge on the person who actually did it. Something like that anyway. Again, it's been on my shelves for that long, I can't quite remember why I picked it up, but definitely want to try and read this because again, if it's not something that's for me, I can clear up some space in my shelves. I've also got The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss on here, and this has been in my physical TBR for quite some time, but again, this is one where the series isn't complete. And I believe the third book has been 12 years in the making, and it may be likely that we won't get an ending to the series now. Everyone absolutely adores this when they read it, but I really don't want to love it and then never get a conclusion to the story. So I'm putting it on here. I do want to read it, but whether I actually get over that fear, time will tell. We'll see, but putting it on here to hopefully entice me to pick it up at some point. And then a few of the ones at the bottom are ones that were on there before, so Uprooted by Naomi Novik. We've also got some of my new ones on there, so The Scholar and The Last Fairy Door, Talon Sister by Jem Williams, and then I do have a few other on here, so Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer. That's another one that I just want to get into. I really enjoyed her Curse So Dark and Lonely series, so hoping I'll enjoy this one as well. And then I have a Kristen Cicerelli book on here, so The Last Namsara. She's known really because of her Crimson Moth series now, but this is a series that she wrote before and it is completed, so I really liked her writing, so hoping I'm going to enjoy that one as well. And a couple of other series that I think are just probably going to be good winter reads. So the first one is A Promise of Fire, and this is by Amanda Boucher. So I picked this up on a whim, I think, when I was in Waterstones in Piccadilly, and again, just looking at the cover, looks like it's going to be a pretty good winter read. I think it's set somewhere that's quite icy and winter themed, so if I'm going to pick it up, it really should be within the next few months. Next one is The Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, and this one again has just been on my shelves for quite a long time. I think it's about shapeshifters, demons, samurai, steeped in Japanese mythology, so again, just one that I really want to try and get off my physical TBR if it's not something for me, but I've heard some really good things about this one, so I think I will enjoy it. And then I obviously do have some more room on the back, so a few of these are just ones that were on there before, just keeping them on there as they are still options that I want to read. But one that I did add is Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi, because I have the entire series of this. My sister bought the box set and she didn't end up liking this first one, so she gave the box set to me to try, and it's been quite a long time since she gave me it and I still haven't picked up this first one. So I do like Tahira Mafi's writing. I've read This Woven Kingdom by her. I do enjoy the writing, but I've heard this is quite different, so I do need to read this to be able to tell if it's one that I'm going to enjoy. So it's not that long of a book, you know, it shouldn't take me too long to read. I just need to finally pick it up so that I can know if the series is for me, because again, if not, it's taking up quite a lot of real estate on my shelf, so if it's not for me, I want to be able to pass it on. So yeah, I'm really excited about most of the ones that are on this TBR now. I think it's just really given me a lot more motivation for what I'm going to be reading, and I think it just needed a refresh. I think I was just sick of looking at the books that were on there, but it does give me a bit of room to add to here, or I can change it about as well, because when I do my 25 books for 2025, I want to make sure any of the wintry ones are on here so that I can try and pick those up. But yeah, really excited about these, and hopefully this will, as I say, motivate me to pick up some of these in the next few months. So I actually think that's going to be it for this video. I was going to try and organise my physical TBR, but I think that's going to be a huge job. I think I might keep that for another day, and when I'm doing that, I'll be able to then do a proper unhaul, because even when I was going through trying to pick books for my TBR cart, there was a few that I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm really not interested in reading that. So I need to go through, be really stringent, be really strict. I can tell you that the first book I'll probably unhaul will be Heartless, because I don't think I'll reread this, and I don't think I need to keep a copy, and I'm sure my local library would be grateful to have a copy of this on hand. So I did unhaul one book. This will be going in my unhaul pile. But yeah, I think I may actually just do a bit of a project with my physical TBR, try and organise it. At the minute, it's literally just all thrown on these shelves, and I don't even know how many books I have on there. Some of these are read, some of these are continuations of series, some of these are hardback hardback, some of them are paperbacks, and they're all just mixed in genre as well. So really need to do a bit of a tidy up on that, and I don't think I'm going to have time to get that done. So I'll maybe do that as a separate video. If you're interested, definitely let me know. I can go through that with you and document my process in doing that. And obviously if you do have any ideas of how to categorize kind of your TBR, do let me know, because most of the time my shelves are just kind of thrown together. But if you do have any systems that you use, definitely let me know. And let me know what's on your TBR for the winter. So what are the books that you're kind of prioritizing over the next few months? You know, is there anything I should be adding to this cart? I do also have to remember to maybe put some sticky notes on here for Kindle books, because when they're not in front of me I tend to forget that they exist, and there's quite a few books that aren't on here physically that I need to read, and I have put on my 25 for 2025 TBR. So I probably will do that. I may get a few sticky notes and maybe stick on some of my Kindle books here as well, so that when I'm doing my monthly TBRs I can pick from that as well. But yeah, let me know what books you're prioritizing and anything you think I should be getting on my TBR for the next few months. If you like this video, do remember to give it a like, and if you want to see more from me, remember to subscribe. I think when I looked at my analytics, around 60% of the people watching aren't subscribed, so I'd be really grateful if you do subscribe. It would help me massively. So if you do like my videos and you want to see more, do remember to subscribe. I post 2 videos per week, and it's videos like this, so just doing bookish things, book shopping, book hauls, book recommendation videos, reading vlogs, all good bookish things like that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye!